He lived and ruled like the last pharaoh, but an army without guns has deposed Hosni Mubarak. After 18 days, the storm on the Nile is over. For now, quickly and stunningly, the former strongman was out of Cairo, heading for his Red Sea home, having surrendered 30 years of brutal and corrupt power to the military. It has promised not to stand in the way of legitimate government. Exhausted and euphoric, tens of thousands are still celebrating in Cairo's Tahrir Square.
Egypt erupts in celebration, and in Cairo at least, this is how freedom sounds. For millennia, the Egyptian people have been ruled by pharaohs, monarchs and military men. Now their time has come, and the joy was palpable. Tahrir Square, it means liberation in Arabic, was a place of celebration. For 18 days it had been the focal point of the uprising. But when it came, the news was almost a surprise. Less than 24 hours before, Mubarak had made a defiant broadcast, dashing widespread expectations he would resign. But his attempt to cling to power only enraged the crowd. And Friday dawned with the promise of the biggest protests to date. The crowds began gathering early, from all walks of life, young and old. At first there was an uneasy standoff as the crowds grew outside state television and the heavily guarded presidential palace, and then a hint of what was to come. The tanks guarding the palace turned their guns away from the crowd. They didn't know it at the time, but this was the moment Mubarak knew it was over. With his palace besieged and millions more on the streets, a helicopter flew in to whisk the president to safety. Shortly after, without fanfare, state television abruptly broke into its coverage. President Hosni Mubarak has decided to step down, said an ashen-faced vice president. The words swept through the crowd like a tsunami.
It's a free country, and we will prove to the whole world that we will be a very strategic country where we control the Middle East, and we will never be beaten by anyone, and we are free.
Before that revolution, I was ashamed to hold my Egyptian passport anywhere, and in the US. Now, I'll be proud to hold it anywhere in this whole world. I am proud to be an Egyptian. I am Egyptian.
I'm happy. He's gone. He was so unfair. He killed us. He killed his own people. He deserves this, and we are going to judge you, Hosni Mubarak. We're going to judge you, each and every one of us.
The celebrations lasted into the night. Parents holding up their children for photographs with soldiers. A moment in history, Egypt's Berlin Wall moment perhaps, captured for posterity. Nick Wells, World News Australia.